Hi, I'm Senio, and I'll be going over step 2 and 3 of Assignment 3, and this involves a screencast of steps 2, steps 3. And step 2 involves running CloudFormer just to create a template of existing AD infrastructure. So to do this, we'll go to the Cloud Formation on AWS and click Launch CloudFormer. We'll then pick a template and then where we're going to put it. Click Next. We give it a password and username. And create. We can choose a key or go to advanced. I just click Next. We can review our details here. We have to click acknowledge and then we create. The creating takes some time, so I'm going to pause it and I'll come back when it's done. Alright, so now it's complete. You go to the outputs and you can find the link, and if you click on the link it will open a HTTPS page or HTTP, and then you proceed. Enter the username and password that we used when we created the stack, and now we get to start creating our thing. So I'm going to make it in North Virginia, and you click create template. It will currently analyze the current resources we have created. This takes some time as well, so I'll pause it quickly. Alright, we're back. So we're going to go through each of these steps outlined above. Starting with the description, I'm just going to call it AWS CloudFormer test. I'm going to select all the resources, I'm going to click continue. Here we can choose hosted zones and DNS records. I'm not going to pick these because, as you can see, they're from previous labs. A handy tip is to have as few options selected here as possible, and that way your template at the end will be far less convoluted, and you won't have to comb through it as much to find out what's actually necessary. So as you can see, we have a huge number of subnets, like US East 1C, 1A, another one for 1A, so 1D. So if you only need 2 subnets, there's no point in adding all of them. What these will do is these will just dilute and fill up that code and make it much more difficult to find out what is necessary and what is not necessary. So bear in mind, if you only need 2 subnets, take 2. If you need 1, take 1. Pay attention to the CDI block and the availability zone, because that will help for latency and stuff once you've developed your template. Below that we have the internet gateways. Now you want to make sure that you're using the right number of gateways. I recommend 2, but you can have 3, I suppose, if you wanted, if you had a reason to. DHCP options, I actually don't know a lot about this, and I'll leave it in, and I'll leave these in as well, so at the end I can show you what I mean when I say it adds a lot of fluff that's not necessary. So be stingy with what you add, and be clear what the purpose of this template is. You have the access control lists, so what lists are you using. You've also got the route tables. As you can see, some of them have more information than others when you go over them. So for example, this subnet probably wouldn't work straight away, because it doesn't seem to have a reference, whereas This one, it has an ID, a name, a route table all attached in it, so it's more complete. Because I found that when I was dealing with my route tables, I had to do quite a bit of changing because I added ones that seemed empty. And perhaps if you add one that's less empty, you'll have less work to do. I'm going to add all of these again, just to show you how crazy it can get if you are not pedantic in what you choose. It's very slow. Elastic load balancers. I don't have any of these at the moment, but if you went through the AWS template and copied that, then I believe there is a load balancer, so it would show up. Oh, he's sneezing. I have 2 snoring dogs behind me that I'm trying not to wake up. I have nothing here, and I don't think I did during the template either. I have no EC2 instances at the moment, but if you did, you would use them, for example for your ADDs. Storage, there'll be no storage either. Oh, a bucket actually. This looks like a automatically created bucket, probably from previous attempts to create templates, so we'll add it in. Subnet groups, giving it in default. SNS topics, so this is for app services. So as you can see, I've got budget, Senio, which is another budget, and then DynamoDB from a previous assignment. I'm going to unlink these because I don't want to get lots of emails. Security groups, so we can see 3 defaults and a web server security group from the previous, so we don't need that. We probably don't need 2 of these either. Topic policy, I'm going to cancel out these as well. Over accrued allowance and spending money, these are 2 alarms that I've set up, and test trail 1 is from the previous lab. I'm turning off the alarms as well. Next we'll get a summary of what we have, and we can modify if we want to the logical name and the outputs. I'm not going to modify anything here. And then we click done. Well, click next. And here we have done, and we choose the bucket we want to save it in. So I'm going to call this video template. No, I was going to call it video T. Here we can see the code, and we'll go over it a little bit now, because this video is nearing its limit. So we'll go over things now. So we have egress, ingress, and these are security groups. As you can see, a lot of these really do nothing, but they have a reference here. So it's allowing everything on a N-1 protocol, I'm not sure what that is, and it's referencing this, which is the name of the security group. These are all security groups here, all these ingress. Here we have routes, so destination block, what they're referencing. This is their server block. Bear in mind that these probably won't work. I'm not sure if you can have 0 to 0 to 0 to 0/0. Subnet routes. Bear in mind all of these can be changed. As long as you're changing the reference, you can change these to make these much easier to understand later on. And I recommend you do that. So like, what is gateway 3? Maybe it's a specific gateway you're saving for something. I'll name it that. And as long as you change the references, it will be fine. So it's gateway 1, 2, 3, subnets, and then what they're referencing. These are all subnets. So remember earlier I added a lot, and now we can see them all. And it's a lot of fluff that's absolutely not necessary. Access control lists. So this is access control list 6. And it's allowing rule 100. Protocol -1. I'm not sure what that is. I think this has to be changed to a specific protocol. And the CIDR block. More access control lists. There's quite a few. This is the security group. Now if you remember in the previous security mentions, they were referencing this group. So they're applying those rules to this group. So these are rules, or how I think of them. So what do they do on what IP? And then back where we were is what they apply to. Way up. So you can see there's quite a few lines. Up to the top we can see the VPCs, and we can see their blocks, 10.10.10.0. So when I first did this, both of these were actually zeros, and now they're different, which is interesting. Availability zones. Now you can see how I've got 1C, 1A, 1A, 1B, 1E. These are probably not necessary. You don't need to have access to these many availability zones. So earlier when we ticked all of them, we would tick the 1 or the 2 that we want, and that would reduce this. That's all I have time for now. Thank you for listening. If I had to give you 5 seconds of tips, I would say make sure you name things logically. Makes it much easier to read the code. Use Notepad++, makes it much easier to read the code, and when you create your template, be very pedantic about what you add, and it tidies it up a lot and reduces the work later on. That's me. Cheers.